What is going on, everybody? It is episode 319 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I'm here with my co-host on this fantastic International Women's Day. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Happy International Women's Day. We're some bad feminists up in here.
We are.
And we got a male guest.
Yeah, we don't even have a female guest on International Women's Day.
Coming to you straight
Shame
from
on us.
International Women's Day. Happy, congratulations.
Congrats on, existing and being female.
It's a good year for women.
Well, Women Plus, I heard. I heard Women Plus now, right? That's the thing?
For women.
For women. And speaking of International Women's Day, I have a quote I would like to read for everyone. I did this last year. It says, in honor of International Women's Day, allow me to quote this statement made by the great Vladimir Lenin. The creator of International Women's Day, it was actually International Women's Workers Day. It says, for under capitalism, the female half of the population is doubly oppressed. The working woman and the peasant woman are oppressed by capital, but over and above that, they remain in household bondage. They continue to be household slaves, for they are overburdened with the drudgery of the most squalid, backbreaking, and stultifying toil in the kitchen and in the family household. So, the whole point of International Women's Day, ladies and gentlemen, was to get you out of the home.
Submit to an employer and not your husband.
Exactly.
Are you saying that Lenin installed Women's Day?
Yes, he did.
Jeez.
Yeah, so isn't that a fantastic way to start your day?
Wow.
It's fantastic. Don't you just feel better?
That's how they do it. They sign those bills and they name them something completely unrelated or the opposite of what it actually does. Like
exactly.
Destroy the family day.
that doesn't have quite the same ring to it.
It would have been funny if Tim's birthday just fell on International Women's Day.
That would have been
by
perfect.
Chance, and then he would just mog the holiday every year.
It just becomes Beanie Day. This would be fantastic. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk about today. The Oscars have a bunch of controversy given that the awards are coming up. Top Gun Maverick is being called out for Russian collusion. They're going to prove they are going to prove Russian collusion on something or other if it kills them. They're going to do it. Basically, there's financing that came from a Russian oligarch, and there are people from a Ukrainian special interest group that are saying that should disqualify it from being in the running for Best Picture at the Oscars.
Someone cue James O'Keefe oligarchy right now.
Oh my gosh, that would be incredible, like right now. Like
we need that theme song to play.
The thing that I was most upset about when James got ousted from Project Veritas was just no more dance routines, no more singing.
Is he out or did he?
Did
he actually quit?
King of show tunes.
They took him off the board and stripped him of his privilege, but I know they didn't fire him. I wonder if I think he might have quit.
We're just wondering if there are going to be any more music videos.
That's what I want. I want Oligarchy 2 Electric Boogaloo.
That's what's next.
I want that.
We need O'Keefe in the next Trash House.
I would love to have him on this show. It'd be really funny to get his take on pop culture. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to throw in some stuff there about Michelle Yeoh is under fire now as well because she made a tweet that was all about complaining about racism in Hollywood in her bid to become to win Best Actress at the Oscars. And in it, she had some in like slide 9 of her carousel of photos, there was a mild critique of Cate Blanchett. And one of the rules when you're in the running for or for like an award at the Oscars is you can't talk bad about somebody else who's also in the running. So she had to take that down. Mm-hmm. So we will discuss that as well. And Donnie Yen, the other day, Mary asked us very kindly, she said, would someone please go find Donnie Yen's N-word tweets? Well,
and they did it.
They did.
They actually did it. They found his racism scandal.
Yep.
He's guilty of blackface, guys.
So we were going to talk about that.
Not saying that I love blackface. I just love when hypocrites get caught.
Yep, and he is annoying. He's a little bit annoying. So we're going to talk about that. Gigi Hadid has been forced by Hollywood, as all people are these days, just like white people are forced to ritualistically complain or allow people to berate them for their immutable characteristics. You now have to bow down and admit that you are a second-class citizen for being a Nepo-Baby in Hollywood. So Gigi Hadid has done that and basically said, like, look, I'm successful because I'm from a rich family, and that's the reason for all my success. I'm not a huge fan of that, so we'll talk about that. Also, there is an OnlyFans model in Australia who is having a government-funded documentary made about her, and I just thought it was kind of bonkers that we're now at a place in culture now where I was thinking back to this, like the old, documentaries and things you'd watch in school. Like I have like very vivid memories of like the really bad documentaries. Like we'd watch these ones about Washington D.C. and the presidents, and they were just so like, you know, it was the 90s, right? So the documentaries were probably made in like the late 70s or early 80s, given, you know, how fast things turn over in the public school system. But they certainly have money in Australia to make documentaries about OnlyFans models. So we will talk about that. And also Alec Baldwin's daughter, Ireland Baldwin, is had a strip club themed baby shower. You heard me correctly. Strip club themed baby shower.
Strip clubs and babies, not things that should mix ever.
It really shouldn't mix ever. So we will discuss all that. We got a bunch of stuff to get into. Are you guys ready, Mary?
We're ready.
So ready. Oh, and there's one more thing before we get going. After my Lenin quote, I did want to at least point out that Marvel had a slight faux pas. When they were announcing International Women's Day, they did this thing where they announced strong women in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and they put up a picture of Scarlet Witch and a picture of Captain Marvel. But unfortunately, they put Captain Marvel's picture with Scarlet Witch's name and Scarlet Witch's name. Yeah, they mixed the names up. So I wonder if that
all
was
those women. They're all the same.
It could have been a very mean, like angry, like red pill dude who works for Marvel somehow. Maybe he did it on purpose. That's my conspiracy.
Was it
theory.
one of those posters where it shows like the guy on the left and the guy on the right, but then they put the guy on the right's name on the left and
you can see right there. No, like they just put the so the top one says
really
Scarlet Witch, and
one.
it's just and it's a picture of Brie Larson. The bottom one says Captain Marvel, and it's a picture of Elizabeth Olsen. Not to the same person. Are what they saying are like blonde women? Do they all look the same, Mary?
Oh, maybe.
Are they all the same?
That's the implication.
That's what they're saying there. It's not a very nice thing to say about women on International Women's Day.
By the way, I saw. Did you see this? Megyn Kelly linked up with Margot Robbie.
I did. I saw a picture.
She took a selfie with her, and they were in Utah for some reason. Both of them.
So I like
Just
the
a
idea
chance
that
encounter.
Margot Robbie's like super based in private.
I mean, maybe. Do you think Margot Robbie didn't recognize?
Maybe it's possible.
Megyn Kelly.
I bet a lot more people are based than 2 years ago. I think a lot of people have been just shocked out of the Matrix.
Is Margot Robbie based?
I mean, she's very good at picking her roles, and she's very good at not speaking on stuff when she doesn't need to. Like she, at the very least, if not based, very professional to the point where she knows what's good for her. So somebody that career conscious, it might be like fair to say like she's not going to take a picture with someone who she thinks would damage her career.
Would Megyn Kelly damage her
I don't
career?
know. Would she?
Do you
No, not
think?
anymore.
I'm just imagining the encounter. Like, does Megyn Kelly go over there and she's like, "Hi, I'm Megyn Kelly," and you at least that name rings a bell.
The name should ring a bell for you.
But Margot Robbie also isn't American, so maybe she wouldn't know.
That's her excuse. She's like, "Look, I'm Australian. We have OnlyFans models getting documentaries. What do you expect me to know about this stuff?"
Yeah.
It could be. And also, if you guys are interested, the good Wonder Woman movie, meaning Wonder Woman 1, is back in theaters for one day only on International Women's Day. What movie would you put back in the theater if it was International Men's Day? That's in like November, right?
It's funny because like all the movies starring women are like categorized as movies about women.
Yeah,
because Terminator is actually a woman's movie. I mean,
kind of, yeah.
The lead,
Sarah
Connor is just a phenomenal. Well, Terminator 2 particularly is Sarah Connor's movie. The first one's more about the dad
But you'd have to have all the incel movies, the incel canon, like Drive and Taxi Driver and
I'd be okay with
Joker.
Joker goes back into theaters on International Men's Day.
And Dark Knight as well, you know.
Well, hey, that one's fine. That one, I'm cool with that one. That's a pretty like pro-masculinity movie, kind of.
Brokeback Mountain. Did you ever see that?
They put that in on International Men's Day.
That'd be nice.
We were
Some
never
gay
seen it.
stuff
Yeah.
too.
That and Bros in a double feature.
That and Bros,
in a double feature, they could do that. So if you guys are looking, it's got a 1 hour and 41 minute runtime, or 141 minute runtime. I love the first Wonder Woman movie. Wonder Woman 2, not so much. Waste of Pedro
I've never
Pascal.
seen either of them. I saw clips from the first one and I was enthralled.
Yeah.
It looked really good. Chris Pine's phenomenal.
Yeah. The problem is like the charming thing about that movie to me is that Gal Gadot does fish out of water very well, like in a very charming way. She plays like because she's never been to like the mainland where like men are. and stuff like that. So she's like a fish out of water, and she's experiencing all this stuff for the first time. So I like that.
And then in the second one, is she have the energy of like, I can't be killed, I'm invincible, it's furrowed brow, like I'm gonna bust, I'm the strong one?
No, it's toxic positivity in that one. Like it's not good. You don't want to.
They're also saying for Incel Day, they want Saving Private Ryan, they want Fight Club.
Fight Club.
Ooh, yeah.
Fight Club works.
Also, all the Fast and Furious movies. They
Hey!
just do like a.
They just get their own day.
What would that be?
That would be on International Family Day.
An octuplet feature.
Is International Family Day a thing? Like, I feel like that should be a thing.
That should be a
It
thing.
probably is.
It's got to be a
just
thing.
don't know it.
It's kind of like when you're a kid and it's like your parents, it's like Mother's Day or Father's Day. You're like, when's International Kids Day? And your parents go, every day is International Kids Day.
International Day of Families, May 15th.
There you go. So on May 5th, that's coming up. Then they've got to put all the Fast and the Furious movies. Like, you have to like literally go through a row in the theater where they just put one on each screen.
Yeah.
And then rotate through.
International Kids Day is November 20th.
Oh, it's an actual thing.
That's so lame.
There's an International Day of literally everything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Let's see if there's colors. International.
There's
Green
International
Day.
Talk Like a Pirate Day.
Is there really?
Yeah.
International.
Yeah.
International Green Day is March 21st.
Is that the band or the color?
It's about climate change.
Pirate Day.
It's even worse.
Yeah.
So it's like,
International Talk Like a Pirate Day, September 19th.
yep, it's a thing.
What the hell's going on?
What's Kick a Ginger Day? That one.
There's also International Throw a Short Person Day. I
International-
always hide on that day.
Dog Day is August 26th. This is insane.
Dog Day afternoon.
International Movie Day. Let's see if there's one of those.
International Dog Day should only be afternoon,
Yep.
so it's
The
Dog Day
second-
afternoon.
Second Saturday of February is the Global Movie Day. I'm out of my mind right now.
You got a bunch of stuff. So,
Too much.
all right, if you guys are ready, we will just get right into it. Mary, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we're going, guys.
Hit
so,
it.
Here we go. So Top Gun Maverick, it's facing criticism because it was funded secretly by a Russian fertilizer billionaire. Is that right? A magnate. I love that
if you
word.
will.
Magnate.
His name is Dmitry Rybolovyev.
We'll just call him Roblox.
But we'll call him Minecraft Robloxyev.
That's
How
his
about
name.
that?
And they're mad because this pro-Ukrainian group, the Ukrainian World, Ukrainian World Congress, is saying that the fact that they didn't disclose the information and the fact that they suddenly decided not to name a villain in the second Top Gun movie means that it's signed that it could be pro-Kremlin propaganda.
They wrote this open letter to Janet Yang, the president of the Academy, saying that the Ukrainian World Congress expresses serious concerns over Russia's influence on the Hollywood film industry. And they believe that Robloxyev's involvement in funding Top Gun Maverick may have influenced the scripts to, it resulted in the Kremlin interfering with the script, basically, to remove negative references about Russia to, in contrast to the first movie, making it a generic villain.
I love the idea of like Vladimir Putin there with like a red Sharpie out like crossing
He's just
stuff
crossing
out
it.
and writing
it's a
notes
really
in the margins.
Far-fetched, dubious
great.
idea.
It's
I
great.
mean, just because there was one person involved in producing this who happened to be a Russian billionaire, that means that he is like working with the Kremlin. I don't really see the connection.
Yeah, because they point out that contrary to the original film where Russia is very clearly like named, but that was like post Cold War. All of our military recruitment went up like 5 gazillion percent
this
afterwards.
is hardly a coincidence.
Yeah.
Hollywood must be vigilant and transparent of Russian money being used to further pro-Kremlin censorship.
Dude, there is no country that loves the funny thing about this is like when I think about it, no place on earth makes more Russians villains than American cinema. Like it's always the go-to.
They're a safe
make them
choice,
Russian. Yeah, you can
for
always make
sure.
the Russians the bad guys. John Wick, Russians. Like every
And honestly, maybe it's time to switch it up a little bit.
you can't. It's racist if you switch it up. You can't do that.
No?
No.
I mean, a lot of people thought that it was Iran.
Yeah,
time
because
around,
of the
but who knows?
the
It's
planes.
impossible to know, and it was left ambiguous on purpose.
Yeah, you said they suddenly removed a villain. Did you mean like during the writing process or production? They removed it, or suddenly, as in from the first one to the second one, they just don't have
the
one anymore?
enemy state is completely nondescript.
I know that, but you used the word suddenly earlier when you were explaining. Did it get removed in the process of creation, or did they never have one?
They can't prove that, but they're claiming
but also just that that there was a very clear villain in the first one, and then in the second one it's made.
They literally have an idea of like Putin flipping through the Top Gun Maverick script. Yeah, he licks his finger and pages through it and like crosses out
the real Russian collusion.
The Russian enemy state.
The real Russian
he
collusion.
changes it in the middle of the process, which they have no proof.
Or even evidence of.
Yeah, nothing.
Will there be our own J6 committee about this?
This is going to be like the years-long deliberation.
We got to get Tom Cruise on to talk about it.
I guess they could make more British people the villains. Like British people are safe people to make villains too, and they always say like whenever British people are villains, they sound cool. So British like they don't use like British soldiers as villains, but they'll use an individual British bad guy as a villain, because everything villainous sounds cooler when you say it with a British accent.
Russian artillery, British men.
Yeah.
British
I've been watching. I went down like a tweet on like a Twitter rampage last night about this show CB Strike, which is it's the TV show based off the Robert Galbraith novels from J.K. Rowling, and it's so good. That is Brett recommends for the day, ladies and gentlemen. If you go watch anything, it's on HBO Max. And the two leads in this show are magnetic together. And when I talk about like leads that have to have warmth and charisma, the guy has the charisma in this, and the girl has the warmth and the charisma on the show. The actress's name is Holiday Granger, and it could not be more perfectly casted. It is also the second show I've watched in a week with strong redhead representation, which I think is going to become my fighting cause. It's going to be like, for the last year or so, I've been talking about how activism is a bad thing and you should be actively anti-activist. I think I'm going to take up arms for the redheads of society. I think I am going to be the redheaded activist.
It's weirdly regarded as like kind of a disability.
Yeah.
Like because they're such a minority in the world.
And they talk about how they don't have souls, and that's mean. Stop doing that. It's not nice.
I dated a redhead for a long time, and my hair became more red as we were.
You think? I mean, you do have a bit of an auburn look.
Yeah, it's by design.
Sympathetic hair.
Sympathetic hair.
Well, don't they say that as you the longer you spend with a person, the more you start to look like one another?
I mean, I would think we were just swapping genes from all the sex.
Yeah, that must be it.
Truly, my hair got more red. Like literally, it was crazy.
I do believe that's a thing. Yeah.
So like
this Russian guy, this investor, he's actually really interesting.
Art collector.
He said he went through the most expensive divorce in history.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, in 2014, I was just reading about that.
His net worth is $6.6 billion, and his divorce is said to have almost costed him $4.5 billion.
Take that. What's his name from Amazon? Take.
Yeah. So I just wanted to like make it clear he wasn't even that involved in the funding of Top Gun Maverick, but he also, was one of the investors in Mission Impossible sequels, Coming to America, and like other movies like that. But like it was only found out that he was involved in funding Top Gun Maverick earlier this year because he was invested in this smaller production company called New Republic that signed a $200 million deal with Paramount, which produced Top Gun Maverick. So it's really not even that direct of a connection. It seems like it's a very tenuous connection that the Ukrainian World Congress is drawing here.
I would also love to point like it's the very easiest thing to point out. Like if we're going to talk about like foreign influence on film, we could talk about China
They're
all
the ones
day.
trying to wield it, by the way.
Absolutely.
Like the Ukrainian World Congress is trying to collude more than this Russian investor ever tried to.
Who is that? Maybe what they want is, maybe what they're mad about is like they want to get a Ghost of Kiev movie made, and this guy won't fund it because he's Russian. Like that's what they want. Remember the Ghost of Kiev?
That is definitely going to be made.
Oh yeah, even though it wasn't true. Like they're like it doesn't matter if it wasn't true. It's gonna like based on a supposedly true story.
Right.
The Ghost of Kiev, and that like they don't even have to come up with a better name. You can just call it Ghost of Kiev. Be great. So what was it about the art? It was like $53 million in art or something like that.
He sold, back in 2014, he sold a Da Vinci piece for like hundreds of millions of dollars more than the asking price, which smells like money laundering.
So that's how you make that, so you can get Top Gun Maverick made.
As a Russian investor, you know?
Also, it's
a necessary evil.
Does it say something about America that it took a Russian investment to get a pro-America movie made?
Right, yeah. I mean, clearly that country has more of a spirit of patriotism and not so much self-restraint and self-flagellation about it.
Like Tom Cruise went to plenty of American investors, I'm sure, and they're like, whoa. I don't know about all this. Like
I think they do have faith in Tom Cruise as a leading man.
They're like, the male doesn't look like a big doofus, and there is no strong independent woman that saves the day. How can we expect this to make any money? And then he points out that those movies never make money anyway. And they're like, hey.
I just looked into it. It turns out the Ukrainian World Congress is actually a charity. It's a non-profit. So it's not the Ukrainian government.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
may be related.
Body.
President Paul M. Grod is the guy's name, or Grod.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it only came out that this Russian investor was involved because of a dispute in between the financiers of the movie.
Yep.
And it had nothing to do with, like, usually I wouldn't think that producers at that level are involved at all in the creative process.
I mean, that depends. Like some of them, I mean, at the very least, some of them have very specific ideas about what they want out of these movies because they know they want to make their money back. So they will wield strong, like, exclusive power over a lot of these films. It depends on how many financiers are on a project.
He didn't have exclusive power over it, and he was the only Russian investor involved.
Wonder if he's worried about that Remember that lawsuit that was going forward about the lady suing it over, like, the rights to the story because her husband wrote the original Top Gun article?
Yeah, so there's got to be some development with that, but I haven't seen anything else on it.
So, but beyond that, like, to me, nobody's calling out Chinese investment in films. Like, I'm not seeing any of that. Like, and there's way more money from Chinese production companies being funneled into Hollywood than there is Russian, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's just not as politically advantageous for Westerners to point that out.
No, because I was pointing out yesterday, like, between Tencent Pictures, the Hawaii Brothers, there's like 3 or 4 of them that are like big ones where if you go to enough movies, you start to notice the names at the beginning of these films. Like, you'll notice the same production companies. Like,
but do those films serve China's political interests in any noticeable way? Generally,
like in Moonfall, like including the Mandarin nanny, I do think at the very least it does. Or the better example would be, like, what did the first version of the script look like? Did something get removed that would have made China look bad? Whether they, like, I watch a lot of old TV shows, like even Firefly, like, has like talks about China, and you'll notice old TV shows mention China a hell of a lot more than modern TV shows if it's talking about a foreign power in a negative way.
To the extent that this rumor is true, it just shows that, you know, people know the power that media has over our brains and our opinions and taste making, but I don't think it is what they're making it out to be. But from another perspective, Michelle Yeoh is trying to frame Janet Yang, president of the Academy, for running a racist institution.
Well, yes. What could be more racist than getting nominated for Best Actress at the Oscars?
Michelle Yeoh and other people involved in Everything Everywhere All at Once have won so many awards for this movie, but it's never enough.
Nope.
It's never enough recognition because they're like maladjusted narcissists. Michelle Yeoh posted this screenshot of a Vogue article in one of her Instagram carousels, and she had to delete the whole post because it's against Academy rules.
Yep.
Here's what it said. Detractors would say that Cate Blanchett's performance is the stronger performance. The acting veteran is indisputably incredible as the prolific conductor Lydia Tarr. But it should be noted that she already has 2 Oscars for Best Supporting Actress for The Aviator in 2005 and Best Actress for Blue Jasmine in 2014. A third would perhaps confirm her status as an industry titan, but considering her expansive and unparalleled body of work, are we still in need of yet more confirmation? Meanwhile, for Yo, an Oscar would be life-changing.
It would absolutely
Her
not be
name
life-changing.
would forever be preceded by the phrase Academy Award winner, and it should result in her getting meteor parts after a decade of being criminally underused in Hollywood.
All it proves is that it really has nothing to do with meritocracy or actual talent.
If you hate
everything
Hollywood
to do with,
so much, then go work in China.
Yeah.
Legitimately, somewhere where, you know, they won't be so microaggressive towards you.
But it just proves that they don't care about who's actually the best performer. They care about what the social implications of winning the award are.
Yeah, shocking that the award ceremony itself is a performance.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. So they're saying, like, look, yeah, it would be great, but look, she's already won one. Like, there's a guy who used to show up to, like, okay, he was so good at competing, right? He was so good that eventually he would go to these contests, and they just wouldn't count him anymore because he was so much better than everyone that it just didn't make any sense to, like, just let him. He was a pro and everyone else competing was kind of an amateur.
I mean, they should probably take a similar approach when dudes are in women's
right,
competitions.
Like give them like a first place trophy, but put them off to the side, but just don't announce that it's like not actually first place. Like, okay, yeah, you won, but then why am I over here? Why is there 3 people on that podium too? Oh, I don't know, and then just don't explain it to them.
Yeah.
So they don't care about who's actually best. They don't care about who actually should win the award because it's not about winning awards anymore.
Michelle Yeoh obviously posted this to be a crybaby.
Yep.
And to imply that if a white woman of a similar stature in Hollywood wins this award against her, then it's because of structural racism. And, you know, it's not even always about merits. Sometimes it's just like random chance and like people's intuition that leads them to vote a certain way.
Yeah.
You can't blame that on racism if you're intellectually honest.
They talk about that, like maybe the start of this was like when they finally gave Leonardo DiCaprio the Oscar for The Revenant when clearly he should have won for Wolf of Wall Street. And they're like, oh, look at, he filmed this movie in 9. Like, there's a comedy bit, like a stand-up comedian who talks about, he's like, oh, he filmed the movie for 9 months. He lost 35 pounds. He's like, that's great, but maybe you should win the award because, like, you're the best person for the job. Yeah. I think you seriously because he made like $20 million for that movie. He's like, I think you seriously underestimate what I would do to myself for $20 million. I would get down to 35 pounds for $20 million. Like, but they didn't give Leonardo DiCaprio the Oscar for The Revenant because he was the best performer that year. They gave it to him because it became a thing about how every year he would be nominated and then he wouldn't win. So that started dominating the narrative anytime he was nominated for that award. And the moment that you make some type of exception and don't give it to the best performer, but give it to somebody else for weird socio-political reasons, you kind of prove everything, your entire premise of your award show to be false.
Did they give Will Smith an award the night he assaulted Chris Rock?
Yes, he did. He won Best Actor. And then gave a speech about it, too.
Yeah, and everyone was like awkwardly, people in the crowd were like, I guess I just play along.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and
they
had no idea what to do with it. And like, to be fair, he probably should have just not gone out there.
Yeah, you strip that. Yeah. You strip him. You kick him out of the building and strip him of his award if you assault somebody on stage. I mean, geez, it's crazy that they would give him that kind of. It's his turn.
I mean, I didn't think I don't think he deserved to like go to jail or.
If Chris wanted to press charges,
he's like
take it to him. Did he hit him on stage?
Well, now he's like Chris Rock is like actually that's funny thing because Chris Rock is like speaking out about this like right now.
His new comedy set. Have you guys talked about it?
Yeah, and no, like I mean it's come up, but basically some people were saying he goes too far on it, and other people.
Does he strike Will in the face? Because that's not far enough.
But apparently Will Smith was trying to convince Chris Rock and other black actors to boycott the Oscars that year before this happened on stage.
Probably at the behest of Jada.
Yeah, very
Jada
likely.
Pinkett Smith, who I've said this off the show, but I'll say it again, is exactly like the archetype of that wife who thinks that you're never making enough money at the office.
Bob at the office got another raise.
Well, I heard that your coworker, Bob, he got a raise, and now his wife, Linda, is going to the salon more often than I am. And
he's like, baby, I want you to go to the salon more often. She's like, well, we can't afford it right now.
Maybe you should stage a boycott. So now Will Smith, at the behest of Jada, decided, to stage a boycott of the Oscars.
Well, so not only did they not boycott...
And they boycotted him.
But not only did they not boycott it last year, also they're having Donnie Yen this year, and Donnie Yen is in trouble for wearing blackface many years ago.
No way.
There it is.
The Chinese national who wanted to lecture Westerners on how racist and exclusive they are.
Yep.
Is actually guilty of racism
Shocking.
and racial stereotyping.
It says...
Who could have seen that coming?
It says, I can see the Academy thinking it would be so cool to accent wins by Asians, Asian Americans by having one of their own present the Oscar. But Donnie Yen is not just pro-Beijing at Hong Kong's expense, but the U.S.'s as well. So it's stupid by choice. And then somebody includes the photos down here.
So one of them, he's in blackface. And then on the other one, he's wearing like a bindi and a turban. So he's like doing like an Indian face.
It's giving Trudeau. It's giving Trudeau vibes.
It definitely is giving Trudeau
from those photos. Remember those photos?
I mean, look, it's almost like the preachy celebrities are compensating for something in their past every single time.
I wonder if a lot of them like wake up every day just terrified to check the news alerts to see like what's being said about them that day, because they're worried about like eventually like everyone who was a celebrity in like in the early 2000s probably has something awful.
Especially if you're from China.
Yeah.
China is of course racist against black people.
Blackface was like 1915 Sambo like caricature makeup paint where they'd put like red lips, literally a black makeup on their face, and then they'd act like idiots on stage. Just having like paint on your skin is not necessarily blackface. So I don't want like
I'm
Robert
only
Downey
holding
Jr.
him to the standards that he's holding the rest of us to.
It's true, but if
exactly. I would if he had made no other comments about any of this, it's like whatever. It's part of his past. But we're holding him accountable.
So you said like Robert Downey Jr. did the same thing.
Yeah, but it wasn't blackface.
Sure.
Just because he painted his face black doesn't mean it's blackface in the sense of what blackface is, which is the insult of black people. Like he was playing a character that was in black makeup.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was like. I don't want to demonize painting your face.
We understand the distinction. People at the Academy of the Oscars do not recognize any such distinction, and they will preach to the rest of society from their ivory tower in Hollywood about racism.
Yeah, Joshua French
says... But at the same time, they're guilty of it.
Joshua French says, why does it matter? People are too soft and get offended too easily. Nobody here is offended. We're holding Donnie Yen to the same standards that he's holding everyone else to, which is absurd because he wants to complain.
A kung fu master is mad that he has been racially stereotyped as an Asian in John Wick 4.
Yeah.
Forced them to change the script and his wardrobe as a result.
Yeah. You fire people like that. That's insane.
Well, they didn't. They appeased him.
They appeased him.
And he bragged about it afterwards and still brought it up as a way to put them down.
That was the part that upset Phil the most, right? It wasn't that they change it, it's that they change it and then he still called them out for it in the press.
It's ridiculous.
That's insane.
His name in the movie was supposed to be Shang or Chang or something, and then he made them change it to Kane. And at first, he also had a wardrobe that was more stereotypically Asian in his estimation.
Yeah.
They westernized his look at his behest.
I've never heard of this guy until today. Who is he? Is he like famous or something?
He does a lot of Hong Kong-based movies.
Okay,
but he's pro Xi Jinping. Like, so
people are wanting him banned from the Oscars as well because of his pro-CCP sympathies. Yeah. I don't think that's going to happen.
No, that won't happen. That's going to be fine.
But yeah,
they'll have no problem allowing him to be there.
I'm holding him to the standards that he claims to uphold.
Yep. All right, we got some super chats there, Mary.
Yeah, Steve Ryman said, Mary, yesterday you asked about Nick Cage's true surname. It is Coppola, as in Francis Ford Coppola. Name change possibly to avoid nepotism claims.
I forgot about that.
Wow.
I completely
so he is a Nepo-Baby. Is that true?
I mean, at a certain point, I disagree. Like, once a person reaches a certain level of fame,
I'm just saying in the colloquial sense.
Yeah, but the thing is most of that industry is hugely incestuous and full of people that they hire based on people that they already know and who they were married to. So it's very hard to make that claim. It's like it's probably safer for Hollywood people to make that claim because so many of them have that against them. Like very few people just make it on their own there. A lot of them come from people with the, it's not even always so bold or so simple as like somebody like being related to a Coppola, but you might have a mom who worked in a casting department or somebody who worked on set. That just getting that initial foot in the door maybe doesn't make you a Nepo baby, but gets you connections that other people spend their whole career trying to get.
We'll talk about that
We'll talk
later.
about that next. Yep.
Andrew Jacobs said, no pop culture Chris kiss today?
No, not today. He said that on Twitter the other day. Yeah, no Bertman today.
He said, what did he say on Twitter?
Yep.
What did he say?
He's Chris Kiss on Twitter said that's what they should call the Wednesday episodes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hobbit said, when is International Pop Culture Crisis Day?
That's a very good question. When would that be? He looks it up. He's like, what day is it? December 2nd. Here, I've made that claim. December 2nd. That's when we recorded like the first episode. So we'll say December 2nd.
I Am What I Am said, why did Mary terrorize Wesley like she did? If you're okay, Ian, blink twice.
Blink twice.
That wasn't me.
I can't blink.
How did you terrorize Wesley?
We did a bit in the vlog.
It's on YouTube /Cast Castle right now.
Yep.
And Wesley asked for it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Ryan said, God forbid we mention the edit they made to Red Dawn from the CCP to AP. Wait,
I forgot. I forgot about that. That was a long time ago. I'd have to look up what it was again. But yeah, they made a bunch of changes to that. I know what you're talking about, though, man.
Micah Hegland said, 1, 2, 3, 4, I declare a thumb war.
I haven't had a thumb war.
We can't do it from this far away.
Yeah, well, eventually we'll be able to do that through like AI. You'll have to have AI thumb wars.
VR thumb wars.
VR thumb wars.
Apparently when Red Dawn was in post-production, they changed the invading army from Chinese to North Korean to maintain access to the Chinese box office.
Yep, that's what it was. Also,
2012.
Speaking of VR, did anybody ever watch? Well, Mary would have. Did you ever see VR Troopers? It was like a Power Rangers knockoff. It ruled.
Really?
No,
was it actually in VR?
It is no, it wasn't VR, but it had a great theme song. Everyone should look up that theme song.
Wow.
We are great. Let's do one more and then we'll move on.
Hobbit said, why call out Chinese investment? You racist, bro?
Yeah, that's us. That's us here, apparently.
Yeah.
How dare you have an opinion on something? Stay in your lane. That's what everyone says, right? Stay in your lane. All right, we're moving on. So Gigi Hadid, she's a model. She has a sister named Bella Hadid. They're both models. And she is saying that she is a nepotism baby. She's admitting it because it's led to her $30 million worth of success. I admit that if I made $30 million, I'd probably have an easier time self-flagellating as well. If you've got that nest egg, right?
Yeah, the trust fund.
Yeah.
She is the daughter of Yolanda Hadid, who is a former model, and she was also on The Real Housewives. Yep. And her father is a property mogul. I believe he's like of Saudi Arabian
So
descent?
it's about the mom being the model first. That's what makes you a nepotism baby.
No, he was, okay, her father was born in Palestine. Yeah. So she did this interview with the Sunday Times where she said, I think because they prodded her to say it, technically I am a nepotism baby. And that's been kind of maligned recently because not only is it like seen as an undeserved privilege, but it's also like connected to race and like given all this extra baggage.
It's like a new way of doing white privilege to people in Hollywood so they can get more people to grovel before them and admit that and take their lashings with a smile.
Well, the thing is, nepotism from your parents or grandparents is a hell of a lot easier to prove than privilege that you inherit from being like white.
Yeah.
In America.
Oh yeah,
like that's way easier to prove as like a direct like reason why you have your wealth or opportunities compared to just like unconscious bias or some like
Jaden Smith
term like that.
Yeah, you can draw a direct line between Jaden Smith's ability to succeed.
And there are plenty of mediocre nepotism babies. Like it's a thing. People who don't transcend
their parents,
the privileges they were given.
I almost feel bad for those. Like if I was somebody who had like a parent that was prolific in an industry, I don't know if I would want to work in that industry as well, right?
Depends on how good you are at it.
But that's what I'm saying.
If
like
you're
it's
great
difficult.
at it, you take advantage of it and you dominate the scene.
Like John David Washington is proving himself to be a great actor, but like very few people in the history of the world are ever going to be Denzel Washington. Like that, like you can make a career for yourself. You can be great at what you do, and he is a good actor. But Denzel Washington is a once in a lifetime talent. So like imagine having to like maybe he like didn't want to like acting. Like he ended up liking it, but then gets pissed because he's like, I don't like.
That's the problem with like regal bloodlines and stuff.
Maybe
you never know.
Maybe it's a little bit different for somebody whose parent who's lives closely with that, or like who interacts closely with that person, so they kind of get a little bit more perspective and distance than we do from like the celebrity aspect of their family, because they see their parents differently than we do. But
in the case of Bella and Gigi Hadid, though, they've been groomed to be models and in the entertainment industry since they were babies.
So it's going to happen with the Kardashians kids with Northwest.
And when Bella Hadid specifically didn't have the facial features that you ought to have as a model, they just surgically changed her. It's pretty easy.
We can fix it.
She got her first surgery at like 14.
Oof,
she got her nose job when she was 14 years old. I'm pretty sure she's actually said something about regretting it, but it's like, it's not even you who should regret it. It's your parents who signed off on that and probably encouraged it.
That has to be damaging to your psyche, to your parents, to not just tell you you're beautiful the way you are when you're 14.
Right. I mean, maybe you're beautiful. You're just not the type of beautiful that you need to be to model clothing and makeup and all of this stuff. Like,
is that, in a way, is that like them
is that a problem?
Giving her the harsh truth very early on, where they could have said that rather than like,
I don't know.
Like that's scary to me. Like that they're like that they don't just like. I get. Would it have been a bad thing?
You see her as a kid on red carpets. Old photos of her, what she used to look like. She looked. A lot of people think that she was specifically. Like the plastic surgery was specifically aimed at making her look like I forget this other model who was like famous in the 70s.
And at what age were those surgeries?
She got her first nose job, I believe, at 14.
Talking about Yolanda or the daughter?
Bella. Bella is Gigi's sister.
Like that has to be damaging to a kid to hear that and then go under the, like surgery in general can be a traumatic experience for anyone, let alone going under it for reasons that are directly tied to your self-esteem.
But now she's got the fox eye thing where they like pull up your eyebrows and your corners of your eyes.
Did she do the buckle fat?
Oh,
yes, man. She got that one too. She's gotten fillers everywhere as well. She looks pretty good.
They suck the fat from one place.
I think she looks like a robot. This is terrible. I hate this stuff.
You looking at Bella right now?
Yeah. Her cheeks all messed up. Her eyes look weird.
As models tend to be, what gay men think of as an ideal woman, and that's just what the business requires.
Cut
I suppose.
up and stretched out. I can't stand it. I think real people are the most attractive people.
Gigi went on to say that while her parents came from very little, she's always acknowledged that she came from privilege. My parents told me just because you have parents who were successful, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't walk into the job being as nice and hardworking as you can be. I don't think I'm the prettiest person in the world. Some Botox could probably help, but I'm not so obsessed with caring that I want to do anything about it. I simply don't believe that she's had nothing done.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about now?
Gigi is the one that was in this interview.
Oh, the blonde girl?
Yeah,
I mean, she looks like
girl.
her eyebrows are funky looking in that picture. I don't know.
I don't believe that any of these people are all natural. Like, I don't believe when you say that.
Gigi claims she's never had any kind of plastic surgery at all. Nothing.
I mean, she's claiming no Botox. She's really claiming that she's never had Botox. I don't believe you've never had injectables. Like, it's just not a thing anymore in this industry.
I also don't like, but here's the thing. I don't like it when you put these people on their heels, because like as annoying as these celebrities can be, and they can be very annoying, like a lot of them won't get the credit when they work hard.
Yeah, I'll give Gigi the benefit of the doubt. If she's coming out and exclaiming that she's a nepotism baby, then maybe you hear that?
Yeah.
Then maybe she's got some genuine energy.
Well, I'm saying, but like, just because you come from money doesn't mean you can't be respectful of other people and work hard.
Yeah, right.
And I feel like when you force these people to Name that movie? Can you?
No, I've never. I don't know.
From the first Scream movie.
Oh yeah, I saw them multiple times.
Jamie Kennedy is apparently very based.
Get him on the show,
he would
dude.
I shot my shot. He did not respond. Sadly,
He will
eventually, but maybe he'll answer on Twitter. I sent him a message on Instagram. But like when you tell them from the start, like, you're privileged, so all your success means nothing, and that is what the jealous people want, right? They want you to feel bad about your success, and that prevents people from wanting to even work hard. Like, if you're rich and famous and you don't have to work hard, why would you want to work hard if people are just going to tell you you got it all given to you anyways? That actually happened with Nick Cage when he got abs for Ghost Rider, and people accused him of having them CGI'd on. He goes,
Really?
I'm never working out for a movie again because people are just going to tell me that I faked it.
Well, okay, there's one angle of this discussion, which is like people's fatigue with celebrities demanding that we celebrate their mediocrities.
What do you mean?
I mean, celebrities demanding that we celebrate their mediocrities. I mean, that's exactly what I mean.
Can you give me an
that
example?
they do nothing of note, nothing extraordinary, and expect us to swoon. It's like,
do you think that's why
something we're tired of? That's one of the reasons the Nepo-Baby discussion started. Then, on the other hand, there are times when some people genuinely are a cut above the rest in a certain field, and then no one wants to admit it to themselves out of jealousy, and they attribute it to undeserved privilege.
Do you think that that's why celebrities get involved in like activism in politics, because it's a place to direct their energy?
Yeah. And that's where this article went, actually. It said, when Gigi and Bella are not modeling, they are getting political, using their platforms derived from being nepotism babies to shove left-wing politics in everyone's faces.
Who wrote this
And then
article?
they cited Gigi Hadid's impression of Melania Trump at the AMAs in 2016, which was actually really cringy.
Was it? Yeah.
Did you watch it?
I didn't watch it.
It was really bad. She just did this squinty face and sucked in her cheeks and just was like, my husband. It was not good.
Not good. And they got in trouble because they talk about Israel-Palestine, and that one's always causing problems in Hollywood.
Oh, right, yes.
Yeah, they're like, but I think that a lot of celebrities get involved in activism because it's a place for them to put their energy where you have to be praised universally all the time. And that way people can't make claims about your privilege because you're like, well, look at me. I am using my privilege so that I can help this cause that I care about.
Do you know about the Albanian pop star cabal?
No.
Like, there's this theory. It's not really a theory, I guess. It's a fact that there's this group of Albanian pop stars. I think it includes Dua Lipa, Ava Max, Rita Ora, Bibi Rexha.
Oh, I actually know all of those names.
There are other ones in it, but it's proven that a lot of their grandfathers and fathers knew each other at one point or another, and it's like a joke, but it's not a joke. It's like they all have colliding interests, and they protect each other's careers and give each other connections and opportunities.
It's why you have to be wary anytime anything comes out with celebrities, because there's so much more that goes on behind the scenes that you'll never know about that allows this stuff to come out. Like, anytime any story comes out about anyone, my question is who approved the story? Who does it benefit?
That's how those award ceremonies are too. They're just shams.
Yeah.
They're all like popularity clubs, that people that know each other.
It's
if you
kind
piss
of
somebody
bizarre.
off, you won't be invited. That kind of thing.
Yeah, Will Smith is not coming back to the Oscars anytime soon because he couldn't keep his hands to himself.
Oh wow!
He got banned for 10 years from the Oscars. So Jada will probably go anyways because she doesn't have any respect for her husband.
I wonder if she'll bring a date.
She will probably have an entanglement that night with some friend of Willow's or some friend of JD's.
I really don't want to pile on Will for having a wife that just dominates him and cheats on him, but man, he hit Chris Rock, and that pissed me off so much.
Everyone loves Chris Rock.
Dude, Chris Rock is the man.
Yep.
Just taking it.
He gave him the
Smiths.
material.
Yeah.
You know, you can't blame him for using it in his special.
Oh, I adore him for using it in his special.
Yeah, people were like saying like he shouldn't be doing this. I was like,
right.
what?
Like it's his trauma or whatever you want to call it.
He
to
needs to
exploit,
cause that
right?
kind of physical pain that Will caused to him back on Will through his mind.
And that's where comedy comes from. Like from personal experience and in your own struggles, right? Like a lot of humor is born out of something like that. So what else is a comedian supposed to do in that situation? Only a truly like not creative person would say that you shouldn't use that to your own advantage. Like only somebody who doesn't understand the benefits of creativity.
And if he hadn't talked about it, I'd have lost complete and total respect for him. Thought he was a lapdog, but I mean, it's just Chris Rock standing up to be a man. That was awesome.
Maybe one day they'll enter that slap competition together and they can finish this off.
They should do a skit of that. That'd be funny.
They should.
Try and diffuse it.
Dana White can be there with his wife.
Will Smith should probably just try to live it down at this point.
He's gonna have to. Like he'll have to and eventually, to be fair, this will go away. Like he's gonna be alive for a long time. He's gonna make a lot of movies still. This will be a footnote in his career.
I haven't seen him be genuine in an interview.
No.
Have you? He just has that fake smile. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's why he
he's in the sunken place.
Yeah. And that's why him in particular was so offensive on YouTube, because YouTube is all about, individual creators doing their own thing and being as like honest and forward as possible. And there's nothing honest, forward, or real about a Will Smith performance on YouTube.
Don't make me look bad, Jada. And then it's like, dude, you're making yourself look like an idiot.
I wonder if there's like videos of like her like moving and he like flinches.
Probably.
I bet you.
Yeah.
All right, we got some super chats there.
The Last of My Kind said Tombstone for International Men's Day.
Hey, that's a good one. Or rewatch Deadwood.
I Am What I Am said Beth Dutton has won International Women's Day. Scary Mary came in a close second.
All right.
Disco Jensen said a remedy for Hollywood: drop ESG DIE mandates, restrict celebrity press and social media engagement, re-engage merit-based practices. Thoughts?
All amazing.
Easier said than done.
I say all perfectly reasonable, all exactly the right path forward, all far easier said than done from an industry that's as deep into ESG funding, has as many rules put in place now regarding equity-based hiring policies in Hollywood.
They've restructured all of these voting committees.
And they're directly tied to their financing and to their tax credits. Like, you can't undo that. Like, I don't know if there's outside of maybe moving Hollywood away from California and starting again.
The movie industry, you need more different movie industries that Hollywood will then replicate. Like Hollywood's just a road in Los Angeles and then an area of the city.
To be fair, like Atlanta is big for movies now. Chicago is big for TV. Florida does a lot of tax credits when it relates to film and entertainment, but it all comes back to companies that are located in California
and get tax breaks
Yes.
from California. Wyatt Kaldenberg said award shows made sense when theaters ran A and B double feature movies. Newspapers could run ads, see new movie, plus last year's Oscar winner. The award shows made money. Today they are meaningless.
When was the last time you think they made money?
Award shows?
Yeah.
Off of just ratings alone?
Or I guess off ad revenue.
Is that what it was?
I would assume or promotion for the next year's project.
Honestly, I don't even know where the money to put them on comes from.
Pfizer.
Do they
Sam
have
Smith and Pfizer.
specific sponsors? Does the Oscars attain sponsorships?
Well, they have sponsors that sponsor the live broadcast.
Okay, that makes sense.
But that just gets the funding for the live broadcast.
Nick James said, I've always wondered, as a white guy, I have very curly hair, Italian heritage. Am I culturally appropriating just for having natural curly hair?
No.
You're
fine just the way you are.
And don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Let's do one more, and then...
Okay, Joshua French said, I didn't mean to imply you all were soft. I just mean people in general. Yeah, well, you would hope that people would see through these types of things in Hollywood, but I think part of it is also, for me,
is like, I look at Hollywood as like, they're like a different species. They're barely the same. They don't exist in the
Savages,
same world.
Barely even human.
They don't live in the same world we live in.
Look at Gigi, man. Look at the misery in that girl's face. Her
No,
eyes
I
are
want to be
dead.
fair. Breitbart shows literally the worst possible photo
Even if
they could have chosen
I searched
for her.
and was looking at, I mean, just the misery. Even when she's smiling, you see misery in her eyes. That industry strips people of their humanity
And their innocence.
It objectifies them and teaches them that if they don't look a certain way, they're a failure.
Well,
it's a
also her
horrible
mother
industry.
did that.
Yep.
Like, I still will like bring up this clip where she gets on the phone with her mother, Yolanda Hadid, who is also a model, and she says that she feels like she's about to faint, and her mother says, "Go get 2 almonds and chew them very slowly."
That is so creepy.
Yeah.
And speaking of being objectified, let's move on, shall we? So there is an OnlyFans model named Renee Gracie. She started out as a supercar racer, and she's having a documentary made about her that is being funded by the Australian government. And
So she went from a racer to an OF girl?
Yes.
Because sometimes it's like you start as OF and then you move to something else.
No. She started her OF to fund her ability to get back into racing after injury.
That's really sad.
But she became like the highest grossing OnlyFans model of any woman in Australia. So it is a 2023 success story, if ever there was one, right?
It's so sad that, like, out of financial desperation, and like fear of for survival, people started doing this.
Yeah. Well, and in a way, is the government not telling you that this is like the right thing to do if they're going to make a document?
Them.
Yeah, it benefits them, but also
you pay them more in taxes. They don't have to give you any social safety net.
So it's called Revealed, and it's led by an all-female creative team. Of course, I don't know how that's legal when they're hiring in their hiring practices, but maybe they were all the best woman for the job.
Promises to be a compelling story about exploitation, empowerment, and resilience.
So here's my question:
showcasing what women have to do to succeed in a male-dominated industry.
And that's a meatball in and of itself to talk about.
We'll use Renee's individual experiences to explore these themes and shed light on the challenges that women face in such industries.
Is the idea that women can only succeed in male-dominated industries if they sell their body on OnlyFans? Is that what I'm supposed to take from this?
Are they claiming the adult entertainment industry is that industry? Is the male-dominated?
No, they're saying that the racing industry is the male-dominated industry, and for her to succeed and get back to it, she would have to sell her body via OnlyFans.
I'm wondering where the exploitation is.
That's my actual question. I said she chose to do it. How is she being exploited?
Like, she had the choice to quit being a racer.
Yep.
Or to figure out some other hustle that she's able to make money in.
Yeah. So it says Renee Gracie began her career racing as a go-kart racing star and became the first female to compete in the Australian Porsche Carrera Cup in 2013 and 2014. After 2 seasons, she began professionally racing V8s and supercars and was the first full-time female competitor in the category in 14 years. In 2015, her Bathurst entry with Simona Di Silvestro was the first all-female combination to contest the great race since 1998. Despite breaking records and achieving such feats, Renee found herself struggling to make a place for herself in a heavily dominated male industry and eventually retired in 2017. Okay, so she didn't get injured. So she retired because she had a hard time getting ahead. And as we know, what they're saying here is that the only way to get ahead if you're a female is to what? Sell your body?
Sell pictures of your holes on
the internet. Yeah, that's what they're saying. But
if anything, does that not exacerbate the problem of your, exploitation?
Yeah.
So-called, the stigma you face.
Yeah.
Doesn't that add more stigma?
Yeah. But also, like, who's exploiting who? She's making a business decision, and the product she's selling is herself.
It's interesting that a lot of these OF women talk about how we need to destigmatize sex work when, like, they are an example of like the lowest stakes version of sex work and have no ties or, you know, relative common experience with actual prostitutes who like work the streets.
Is that like the grass is always greener? Like the women working the streets are like, I would love to be able to do what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you think that the actual like sex workers would want their industry destigmatized? Right? Like they're like, are those because clearly they're not the outspoken activists talking about normalizing sex work.
No, they don't have the time, nor the platform to do so.
They're busy, you know, selling access to their body to survive in this world.
If anything, they probably find that kind of infuriating that somebody else is taking some type of grandiose moral stance on something that they're doing just to survive.
And that is a microcosm of the entire industry, if you will even, you know, like force it into one monolith.
Yeah. But also, like, for a lot of stuff like this, is like, is there going to be a documentary one day about the female-dominated porn industry that men have to fight to survive in, where they're selling their OnlyFans subscriptions for far less than the women are doing so, and then we can talk about the gender wage gap in then we can talk about the gender wage gap in porn.
Gay men are probably getting more, the same amount of.
That would be an interesting thing to figure out.
But I mean, well, actually, also like the porn industry, as far as the executives who are in charge of it, it is male dominated. Right? Yeah.
Well,
the performers are, it's different because the performers are mostly female. Yeah. The females get paid more, but that's like. But
the majority of the money isn't being made by them; it's being made by the companies.
And
absolutely
profiting off of the content.
But do you think it's weird that this would be funded by the government at all? Like, does it cause you concern that they would look at this as something worth highlighting?
I don't know. How are they funding it? Are they?
Is this part of the funding coming from the government and not the entirety of it?
Yeah, Screen Australia, which funds a bunch of documentaries, got like
head
a grant.
of documentary. Yeah, they have a head of documentary in this.
So Screen Australia got like a bunch of government funding to produce a bunch of documentaries over the next few years, which is where this is coming from.
The head of documentary, Alex West, expressed pride in supporting. Francis Elliott, Samantha Marlowe, and Cody Greenwood, saying that they have a proven track record crafting engaging documentaries, commended the upcoming documentary for shining a necessary light on gender inequality, stigma, and prejudice in sport and beyond.
So
sharing honest insights into Renee's empowering origin turned comeback story.
If somebody doesn't succeed, it isn't always prejudice or stigma. Sometimes you just don't succeed.
Yeah, I mean, was she a good racer?
Yeah. Like, she was apparently okay, but that's not the same thing. Like, in a competitive industry, I don't get it.
The fact that they're trying to spin this into some kind of happy ending for her life.
This is not happy looking. I mean, she's got a fake nose, fake lips, fake boobs. Big, huge hips. I don't know if those are fake hips in that picture. It's just disgusting.
Everything about her is fake. But she's not. I mean, being. Where does the exploitation come in?
That's my honest question. How is she being exploited? Are we just removing any and all personal responsibility from a woman in the world to make her own choices?
She exploited her own body.
Yeah, she exploited herself.
She also has an incredible amount of expendable income if she's spending this much money on artificially constructing her body. Yeah.
I try not to hate or to get frustrated or upset with people that do this to themselves, like that just cut themselves up and inject themselves, and oh god, but it's hard not to. Like if I meet them, I want to help them love themselves so that they stop injecting crap, botulism into their face. But at the same time, like watching it from a distance freaks me out. It's disgusting to show little kids that and make them think that this is what they're supposed to do.
Right, and that this is also like what appeals to people on OnlyFans.
It's so fake. The boobs are so disgusting. That's just so.
And that's
it's
the
not
world
even
we're pushing towards, right? Like, as people see their bodies as a commodity that they invest money in because they're making their money in an industry like this, where you're using pictures, photos, videos of yourself, and that's your income stream. And they're told from a young age, like, look, it's never too early to start thinking about plastic surgery because there's problem areas you can look at. I don't remember what we were talking about last week. The myth of problematic areas, which you can start focusing on getting preemptive surgeries done to prevent yourself from aging. And then there was the article the other day about, what's her name, Daenerys Targaryen, Emilia Clarke, and like they're mad at her because she's not getting plastic surgery. And somebody
comes from different corners of the internet. Ones that, say that it's condemnable to get all of these cosmetic procedures to be fake.
Yeah.
But then if you don't, you hit the wall, and but there's different people saying different things, and you're all like facing contradicting things, and you need to have like a sense of self in order to not listen to them. But
and that's what everyone was saying about Emilia Clarke. Like, why are people being mad at her for embracing her age and not artificially changing herself and embracing what she looks like as she gets older?
If anything, taking a selfie in like horrible lighting just shows how detached you are from caring.
That's awesome.
Like, that's a good thing.
In a way, yeah, that's awesome.
So why are you, negatively reinforcing that? But I think an especially sinister part of this documentary coming out is that it's showing an opposite trajectory for OnlyFans. So like, you should go into different industries in order to pivot into OnlyFans, rather than
you bring the fan base
the traditional structure, which is starting in OnlyFans and then using your platform or the money that you've made off of it to pivot into something else.
Most of the people are doing it the other. Most of the people are going to OnlyFans once they've built a fan base from a structure outside of that industry.
I saw this one interview from this girl who, I think we talked about her on the show. She talked about, how she's done all of these disturbing things, like requests for videos on OnlyFans, and how she comes from this background of a bunch of trauma that made her like sexualize herself. And it's just obvious things that, you should probably assume if somebody thinks it's like a good idea to sell your body online. But she's trying to pivot into becoming like a boxer or some MMA fighter or whatever, which is a good thing. Like, find something else that you're passionate about, that you like doing, and take the money and run while you still can, even though it's too late. Those images and those videos are always going to be out there of you.
There's a female boxer who Ebony Bridges, who has like an OnlyFans.
It's a different one.
But Ebony Bridges, like, whenever she's like a world champion and advertises her OnlyFans when she does the weigh-ins, and she's famous for doing her weigh-ins in lingerie as like a way of like psyching out her opponent. Yeah. And selling her and promoting herself. So it's like to me, I'm not gonna hate on them for finding a way to. I know. Like, but for somebody like
why not?
For somebody like that who's very successful in another industry, hers seems to be that she has a problem with the fact that she's like wasn't able to reattain the same success and had to turn to OnlyFans to become successful. Right? She left one industry and joined another. Ebony Bridges is one who's like,
if you're
doing
a construction worker who gets injured on the job, do you have the option to make an OnlyFans?
Suppose you do. It's just will it actually
get back
make you
on
any
your
money?
feet? I don't think so.
No. Yep.
It doesn't work all ways.
Somebody says only graphene in the chat. Only graphene.
Is that URL taken?
Going to be the number one
time to buy that
competitor.
One. Yep. The Russell says only graphene.
I was
so we're gonna have to
wondering how much money has OnlyFans made in the last 3 years?
I'm guessing several $billion.
I'm shocked that not so long ago they had plans to make it a PG-13 platform.
They wanted to turn it into like regular content with like content
like
creators.
Yeah. And then they immediately went back on that.
Yeah.
It's just so much. 900 million. Yeah, they made 900 million 2 years ago. It's so profitable. 20%. They make 20% on every transaction.
900 million at the height of the pandemic seems low to me.
But you can't like fund a comic book pitch.
No.
I'm so done with this like clown world we live in.
It's a double standard. Yeah. Oh, somebody mentions Mandy Rose. Yeah. Mandy Rose, basically, she got fired from WWE for making her OnlyFans like style content, right? And now she makes more money like per month than she was making. Like she makes like in a month what she was making for WWE in a couple of months. She's very, very successful in the wrestling business. She was
just saw
NXT champ.
This random TikToker who makes like $350,000 a month.
That's what Mandy Rose was making on hers. Hers wasn't OnlyFans. It was like some other like alternative site. But if you're coming from,
when is the bubble gonna burst?
I don't know. Like, does the bubble?
And I mean, why is it?
I don't know if the bubble on sex work bursts. I don't.
But why is a woman's like nude photos or videos even like valuable anymore when it's
that's what people always say,
available everywhere?
Oh, that's a good point with the deep fake porn industry on the horizon.
That too, but also just that, you know, anyone can leak what you've put on your OnlyFans, and there's free content everywhere.
But here's the thing. That's why you build up. That's why they want you to build up. Or that's why people want to build up their profile before doing it, because then it's not just about the fact that you're naked. It's the fact that you have a bankable persona before you do it.
Yeah, people want to support you no matter what you do, kind of thing.
So there's a novelty in the fact that you go from one industry to another, and your name had recognition and value before you started there. It's different, however, if you start in that industry and all you're known for is that. Right? So they're different things.
Someone said tons of simps out there.
Yeah, there is in a lot of.
It's like when the pickup artists out here on social media talk about how you should like, you know, get married and settle down with children, but they're the exception. They have to, you know, continue running game.
Well, yeah, because they have to help you.
But the OnlyFans chicks are talking about how there are no good men around. Meanwhile, they have thousands of simps subscribed to their OnlyFans page.
Yeah.
Who are essentially undateable men.
Yeah.
Like, no woman with self-respect should be anywhere within like a mile radius of these dudes who subscribe to OnlyFans, like at all. Yeah. You're like, these are the people like ruining dating right now for normal people.
At the very least, like they're not doing their own lives any good by having a maladjusted idea of how to have a relationship with a woman.
Yeah, you could be investing that money in a girl.
And this is personal, by the way. If any of you listening are subscribed to someone's OnlyFans page, just know you're undateable. That should...
What would be your advice for those people?
I mean, what can I say? If you want to live that pathetically, like, that's your choice. But, I mean, you're undesirable and undateable to any woman worth anything.
Do you think if they canceled their OnlyFans account, they'd be more dateable?
Well, yes. Yes,
and
on both sides,
and learn
the creators and the subscribers to them, like all of them.
I guess there's nuance, because if they become more miserable in the short term after canceling their OnlyFans account, because that was their, I don't even care about this.
The exceptions don't matter.
All right, we got some.
We make generalizations here. Greg Duvier said Buffy the Vampire Slayer for Women's Day movie.
Yes. Well, I would watch the show. I wouldn't want to watch the movie. I've only seen the movie like once, but I'm now like watching the show, and it's like my favorite thing on TV right now. Like my favorite show to watch.
Is that the old one from the 90s?
From 1997. Oh my gosh, it's freaking great.
Really?
Yeah, it's incredible.
You know, I kind of lost once the what network was that on?
I think it was on UPN, but I'm not sure.
There was this like slew of Hercules, Xena Warrior, all these like low budget kind of like digital video movies.
All filmed in like New Zealand.
And were they all DV? Is that why they all look weird, like low quality? Were they digital video? Like
I don't know.
Video?
No, I don't think that was true.
They were on film.
They would still have been on film.
Really?
I'd have to look into that more, but like I love the old, like all that old stuff like that. So.
I never got into those.
Yep.
Clint said, howdy people. Hey Mary. Sup Ian. Love you, bro. Brett, that's interesting. I wish I knew what Brett said. That was interesting.
Wow, I didn't know that. I didn't even mention, like, we're turning the luck around on this hat today.
Yeah.
I'm turning this is a bad luck hat. I'm turning the luck on this hat around and making it a good luck hat
nice.
Today. Yes, we're working on it.
Steve Ryman said, nepotism isn't always bad. Jesus wouldn't have made it big if his dad hadn't turned out to be connected in high places. Just a joke, that is all.
Thoughts, Mary?
I mean, I guess that's true.
There you go.
Insight of the Ages said they don't want you to be you. They want you to be they. They want us to idealize mediocrity. They want to destroy uniqueness.
Is that why all the models look the same, and why Kanye West's new girl looks just like Kim Kardashian from a distance, and they're all just basically clones of one another?
The Instagram and the OF models, they all look the same.
They do.
Fashion models look different.
Yeah.
Because gay men find them.
Let's do one more, and then we will move on.
Bobcat said there is nothing wrong with being creeped out by people who have undergone excessive plastic surgery. We evolved the uncanny valley for a reason. Totally agree. But I thought that was for like, being repelled by humanoid apes.
Is that what it's for?
So that we wouldn't reproduce with like standing like bipedal apes. But I could be totally wrong about that.
Yeah, probably like Neanderthal and all that stuff.
I have no idea.
Stay away from the Denisovans.
Next thing is Alec Baldwin's daughter, Ireland Baldwin, recently threw a baby shower for herself that was strip club themed. And it might have actually been at a strip club. There were strippers on poles with prosthetic baby bumps strapped to their bodies.
Society is falling, ladies and gentlemen, and Hollywood is responsible.
Like things are just getting really weird. I looked at her Instagram page and the comments are like mostly positive, not really acknowledging how weird this is.
I'm going to scroll down so people can get an image of these photos so that I don't have to be the only one who had to look at this.
Yeah. Well, no, go to the posts and like show the fake baby bumps that they're wearing. That says baby's first strip club,
ladies and gentlemen.
And then on the flyers it says Holland's first strip club. That's her daughter's name because you have to name your daughter after a country.
What is this? It's the girl with the baby's first strip club. It's a girl with a bunch of champagne bottles.
Yep.
So she's been drinking.
Wait, does the next one have the? Oh, it's. Yeah, look, the last one, prosthetic baby bumps on the hired strippers.
Society is falling, ladies and gentlemen. Things are falling apart.
Why are we sexualizing pregnancy and like baby bumps?
Yeah.
That's really weird.
It's weird.
The prosthetic bumps are weird. Then she also took this picture in her next post of her pretending to give birth to her friend.
Yep.
Her friend like got in the fetal position and like stood herself in her like between her legs like she was giving birth.
Yep, you guys all have to look at this because I had to look at this today, so other people have to look at this. It's not just us.
She's like wearing lingerie and she's got this wig on. She's throwing money around. It's all very
And her dad
grotesque.
killed someone like less than a year ago.
Like this family is very strange.
Yep. There, I took the pictures off the screen so people don't have to look at it forever. And then, like, just remember, these are the people that lecture you and tell you that you're a bad person based on, I guess, who you vote for or what your beliefs are and what your religious beliefs are. These are the people that are judging you harshly.
Who, Ireland?
Her caption said, way too many of these to post, but it'll have to come in parts. My friends and family threw us a very traditional baby shower, as you can see. I wouldn't have had it any other way. I was showered in booty. And then the other post said, baby's first strip club extravaganza.
Not kidding. Baby's first strip club. Okay, this is one of those things, Mary.
Baby's strip clubs. Not compatible. Don't do those things together.
I can like gaslight myself sometimes into thinking like everything's going to be okay. Days like today are not those days. These are the days where I'm like, it's not like, I'm like, we're screwed, aren't we?
No, this has always been like this with like crazy, lavish, like gluttonous, rich people. I think of the Romans, like.
Yeah, but now this stuff is available. Like that stuff was sectored off from the public. Now normal people see it and want to idolize it
or puke. Like I have no interest in idolizing drunk stripping with babies in the womb.
Exactly.
Hillary Duff was there for some reason.
That's not good. We love Hillary. Like Hillary Duff.
I thought she was
cool. Come on, Hillary. Like it just feels like, as somebody who is not religious, it is not really a moralist in any way. I look at this and I'm like, Do you have to make it so hard for me to feel like I'm like?
Why is there that picture of her with the champagne and
I'm guessing she wasn't actually drinking.
Right. She has this cake at the shower that has a Barbie doll with a toilet and a bunch of champagne bottles, implying that she's drinking during pregnancy.
And is she puking, or did she have a miscarriage into the toilet? Like, what's this?
No coat hangers in the photos, I noticed, so that's good.
So there's no abortion, but like, did she have a miscarriage, or is she puking from being too drunk with the baby in the womb? Like, what is this disgusting imagery? I'm all for ripping yourself apart if you want, but like, what is it? What?
When there's somebody else that you're responsible for.
Probably she has a bunch of friends that are strippers and wants to make sure they don't feel bad about themselves. Ultimately,
is that it?
I mean, I just think it's like I don't think she was actually. I don't think she was actually drinking. I think the other people were actually drinking.
Right.
Like that's actually the taboo.
That seems like the worst part. Like, why would you want to have someone throw you a baby shower and you're the only sober person there? That seems boring.
Yeah. Well, I've learned to like be able to go to parties and be sober.
She's like stuffing bills in her bra and stuff. Like, this isn't a bridesmaids party.
You see the picture? Holland's first strip club.
Party.
Yeah, Holland's first strip club.
And then it's a picture. It's a what is that? Not a mammogram.
It's like one of her
ultrasound picture. That's what it is.
Yep.
So
look at that.
Holland.
Yeah, well, her name's Ireland, so the baby's name has to be Holland. She said,
I'm Ireland, so another country name because we wanted to keep it consistent. And then I love the actress Holland Taylor. I've always loved that name. Thought it was such a classy, beautiful name, so we're going with Holland.
Maybe think about not having.
She has a great future ahead of her.
Yes, well, the kid will have money. The kid has that going for it. But other than that, it's probably
a very loving grandfather
who will probably call it names on voicemail.
She's got the kind of dad that could kill someone and then hire a lawyer to get him off.
Yeah, well, the grandfather.
This is what happens when like this is the kind of behavior you can expect from your daughter when you call her up on the phone and call her a selfish little pig and make threats.
Oh, this is the selfish little pig?
Her.
Yeah, that's this person.
He made those threats when she was like 12.
Yeah.
And now she's 27.
Shocking. She didn't turn out completely normal.
She didn't turn out very normal, no.
God, Alec Baldwin's such trash. Is Hilaria her mom, or is it previous?
It's Ilaria.
Ilaria is her stepmother.
Ilaria.
What's her real mom's name?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
Ilaria.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Alec is off like trying to not shoot someone on the set of Rust 2 Electric Boogaloo. I guess they're not on the sequel yet. They're just finishing the first one.
He screamed at his 12-year-old that she was a pig.
Yeah.
And that's just one thing that happened to be recorded.
Yep.
Like, what did this girl go through growing up?
This is just so low class, and it doesn't come as a surprise, obviously.
And it just bothers me because these are the people that act high and mighty.
But it's like, once again, like, you can't tell me this isn't trying to sexualize children and childbirth and pregnancy.
Her mom is Kim Basinger.
Oh, yeah. Holy crap. Basic Instinct. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. It's sort of like, oh my gosh, this is like really sick, but we were just talking about OnlyFans. There are women who sell videos of their like births on OnlyFans, and this is considered like legal, not CP, not against their TOS. As far as I know, haven't heard of them receiving any consequences for it. And there are people with like fetishes around this stuff who are obviously PDF files. Yep. And we're just not talking about this. Like, I'd rather be more cautious. Like, I'd rather be overly cautious about these things than not cautious enough.
Yeah, I don't like throwing stones at people for their behavior, but when they put it on the internet to make it public, I have no choice but to comment on it.
She's looking for backlash.
You're putting it into the public, not us. Like,
she wants the negative attention.
Yeah. I dated a stripper for 5 years, man. It's not a good life. It was horror on a weekly basis. Just terrible relationship stuff.
Would she have been at a strip club at a baby's first strip club baby shower?
How did she feel about being a stripper?
She hated it. She wasn't a stripper when we started dating, and after a couple of years of dating, she was like, I think I'm gonna start stripping. I said, I think you might get addicted to the money. I don't think it's a good idea. She goes, well, I'm gonna do it. And I went, oh, okay, you are you, I am me, live your life. And every weekend, not every weekend, but often she'd be getting ready for work, taking 2 hours to get ready. She'd start crying because she didn't want to go in. She'd go in, she'd come home early crying, blame me for it.
Was it because the money was too good that she kept doing it?
The money was so good. She'd work 2 hours a week and make like $1,000.
Okay.
It was crazy. I'd work like 40 hours a week and come home with like $480 or something, or $700. And but I mean, the stuff she did, she wouldn't even talk about it. She like grinding on dudes, like talking like genital nakedness, cocaine, constant drugs, girls just catty, and I went in there once to just to be like, I need to know what my girlfriend is doing. I want to be part of her life. And it's just a disgusting environment. Sunset Strip.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you discouraged it. You know?
Yeah, man. The whole time I did, but it would like, if I tried to discourage it, it would make her more upset. So I'm like, what am I? This is a weird situation.
But she feels the same way, so
the money was so addictive.
It's
that OnlyFans stuff.
I don't like the way that this incredibly privileged, literal Nepo baby Ireland Baldwin is framing going to a strip club as some kind of like feminist empowerment stance.
Yeah.
Like that's what a lot of like middle class white women think, is like going to a strip club is like super feminist and empowering in your sexuality or whatever, when really you're quite literally funding the exploitation of other women, and also in this case glorifying
Thank
it,
you guys.
making a big joke out of it.
Yeah.
Making a joke out of pregnant women stripping.
Yeah, it's sad.
Like that's horrific, actually.
I was actually, it's I don't remember who I was like, it wasn't somebody who's even, somebody that I know that isn't involved in this world. They're not involved in politics or anything like that, but they posted a picture of like something the other day, and they had to like cover up their feet in the photo, and it said, sorry, no, not like, you don't get this. And I just remember, and I had like one of those moments where I'm like, I'm so glad I'm not a woman on the internet.
Well, I feel like when you decide whether or not to cover your feet in a photo, it's like, it only makes sense if you sell feet pics to cover them, right?
But she doesn't. She just doesn't want to give people like
material.
Yeah.
Well,
like,
in that case, you kind of like, you can't avoid the fact that your image is on the internet, and anyone could like interpret it any way.
You know what you gotta do? You gotta get those boots, those red boots we were looking at.
Yes. Oh my gosh. They actually are still in pre-order stage right now, so they haven't been sent out to anyone. I might like look on them, like the resale websites, to try and find the Astro Boy boots.
A guy that skates 3D printed a fake pair and made like a skate out of them.
3D printed
like a fake, like, and they just broke right away, but it was incredible.
No.
It was incredible.
They're really cute.
Yep. So what you
got
gotta do?
me thinking about them. I was literally looking for them this morning. I was looking for them.
So what you need, like if you're gonna hide your feet pics and you're gonna keep, or if you're an industrious young woman who wants to eventually sell your feet pics, you have to hide them for a long time to build up their value. So you got to get those boots.
I wish that they came in other colors than red, though. I wish they came in like white and black, maybe.
I mean, they would look. I feel like the red makes them. Have you seen those boots? What are they called?
I'm looking at them now.
Like the Astro Boy boots.
Yeah.
You could paint them, but I mean that would wash up. That wouldn't stay. You could like etch them, laser print on them.
They're like $1,500 or something.
Really? I'm seeing 80, 150, 40.
I don't know. They might be like scammers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, fake ones.
Jesus,
maybe like this.
I would get reps. I would do it.
Eventually, the strippers will have them at the strip club.
That's super sexy.
They're like
super
trying to pull something off,
red boots.
Trying to pull a layer of clothing off, and they get stuck on the boots, and they can't get it off, and it's just really awkward and uncomfortable.
Better than those giant stilettos.
Both probably very
More
difficult to walk in.
You know, I don't know. I think they would feel like Uggs. They look comfy.
So okay, then just too hot. But it's like by the end of the night, you're like, oh man, I got to get out of these things. They're too hot. My feet are getting cramps, and they're shriveling up from the Astro Boy boots.
Well, overall, feeling bad for this unborn child.
Yeah, like imagine
Good luck
like
out there.
dude, like, but just think about this. Like back in the day, you'd look at like pictures. Like my family took a lot of photos. Like we have lots of photos from my first communion, from every family gathering. That was a big thing in our family. Boxes and boxes of photos. Mm-hmm. Thank God this kid does not have to look at doesn't one day like go into a closet and find photos of this of Holland's mom, like, why was my mom at a strip club when I was being born? What, and then, or like, imagine like no context finds the picture of the mom holding a thing of alcohol. It's like, that explains a lot. Why am I in remedial classes in school? Oh, because my mom was drinking at a strip club during my baby shower.
Right. Another thing is I wanted to point out, this photo shoot was done by Mark Hunter of the Cobra Snake. Brett hadn't heard of them, this guy, Mark Hunter. But Ian, have you heard of the Cobra Snake? He was just known like in the late 2000s and early 2010s for like party photography of a lot of different celebrities, including like Katy Perry, and like this one model named Corey Kennedy that he like kind of found, he like scouted. But yeah, like he's like bringing back the sleazy aesthetic.
Yeah, I'm looking at his Instagram right now.
It's coming back. Sleazy aesthetic coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Guy pouring sparks on his face. It's a lot of like sweaty imagery.
Definitely is focusing on like the sweat and the grime. But that's not really the vibe that I would want at a baby shower. No,
maybe like time and a place. Like you can do this later. I still discourage it, but maybe do this later.
Maybe at a bachelorette party. Maybe
that's what it is. Maybe she just forgot that it wasn't a bachelorette party.
This is what chicks who don't get married before having kids are gonna do.
Yeah.
If you feel like you didn't get to party enough, you're gonna have your bachelorette party while you're pregnant.
Is she married? Or is she single mom?
I doubt it.
This is a bachelorette party. They just called it.
I
looked at essentially
the picture of her
party.
and her husband, but I don't think it's her husband. They don't have rings on. Yeah. So this is just the state of millennials, I guess.
So she's in a relationship with Andre Allen Anjos.
One of the comments says, it's crazy we have to say stop sexualizing children, and now we have to say stop sexualizing the preborn.
Literally, yeah.
That's, like, what is this country coming to?
Baby's first strip show is a strip club. Baby's first strip club.
Like, look, as me, who's always out here, like, I'm not trying to judge people, like, oh, blah blah. Like, and then this stuff happens, and I'm like, you're testing
people
you're
more.
You're testing my ability to be like maybe this isn't a good thing, right? Like maybe a little bit of forethought could have gone into this, and been like, maybe my child will one day be embarrassed about this. No, do you not care what's going to happen to the kid in the future, or is the idea that by the time this kid gets married, it's going to be that much worse? So like she'll be like, back in my day, we barely did this all we did was have our baby showers at strip clubs. Now what's going to happen? What comes after this? It'll be 10 times worse.
Yeah, looks like it.
Ugh. All right, now that we've blackpilled everyone, we've got some super chats there. Also, I do want to talk about the Katy Perry thing after this, since we're.
Oh yeah. It's over 9,000 said, Ian, I recommend you check out a YouTube channel called Unknown 5. It's what really got me interested in world history.
Thanks.
Okay.
Unusable Alpaca said, aren't Russians Asians? Ukraine must stop Asian hate and war or whatever.
AAPI. I forgot about that.
Yes. Mark Reyes said, I just went to an Amazon Go store where you can walk out with something and it's paid for. The future is now, and I got Twix.
I said somebody
What
made
is
like
that?
it's like you go in the store and it just charges your Amazon account.
As you walk, there's no cashiers.
There's no cashiers. There's no employees. You just you go in, you take whatever you want, and when you leave, your account gets charged. They have one in Portland, right?
How do they know who you are?
Facial recognition.
I don't know the answer.
But you don't give facial recognition to Amazon.
Wi-Fi, I don't know. Like, would it be facial recognition? Would it be like Wi-Fi? Like, does your phone connect when you go in, and it connects to your Amazon account?
Sounds gimmicky.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it's like, why would anyone and then people the funny.
It's only so you vastly underestimate the cost of the things you're walking out with.
Also, it's gonna be funny one day, like in Portland, a bunch of people there's a riot and they break in and they all get charged after they leave with everything.
Right.
Like they leave with a bucket of Twix. Like this person bought one Twix. They leave with all the Twix and their card gets charged for thousands of dollars.
You have to scan a barcode on your phone at least.
Oh, so right? As long as they don't scan scan, like as long as they don't scan it. Okay, yeah.
Mark
they're saying
Reyes,
an app on your,
tell us how you do this.
They're saying an app on your phone, a QR code gets scanned.
Okay.
But it would be funnier.
So it can still very easily get looted.
It's still funnier if a bunch of people get charged. No, if they've all been in there to shop before, and then it's got like a memory. So when you walk back in via Wi-Fi connection, you don't have to scan the barcode again. So they go back in, they steal a bunch of stuff, and they all get charged for it.
Yeah, I think Tim was talking about going into one of these stores, and they were like testing the security just for like a documentary or something they were doing, and they found out they were able to steal pretty easily. And then when they talked to the people, they're like, yeah, but the loss that we incur by theft is overridden by the amount of money we save by not having to have people shop. Yeah.
When I worked at Target, basically the idea was like they didn't stop at the one I worked at. They didn't stop people who would walk out with stuff because it does more damage to the store's reputation to have constant confrontations at the exit, making a bunch of soccer moms feel unsafe than just letting them leave with the merchandise. It's just written off into the loss prevention column
I
of
thought
the
that they
of the
would
store.
keep track of people, you know.
Oh yeah, no, there was pictures in the back room of like the frequent people. So then in the future, the idea is like if someone's like a repeat offender, they would call the cops if they saw them come in. And that's assuming that the people in your loss prevention department care enough to actually do their job. But, you know.
Joshua French said, Ian, if you want the UFO to spin without the wobble, position the air blower about 5 inches and level from the edge. I have the same one you all have on TC.
Timcast IRL.
TC IRL.
What is TC IRL?
I haven't seen TC
Twin
before.
Cities IRL?
I'll tell you though, I like the wobble.
Yeah, he likes it that way. Disco Jensen said 1984 society is crumbling, but at least we have internet. Am I right?
Well, yeah, like society's falling.
Hardly a comfort.
Society's falling apart at the seams, and we're having baby's first strip club. But at least we've got Wi-Fi
to
and
watch
Netflix
it crumble.
to watch society crumble. Exactly.
Hobbit said, Ian, you always bring up the Romans. It might blow your mind to find out there are other historical cultures out there. Recommend studying some more.
Uh-huh.
That was clever.
Like what?
Like what? Like what would you want him to study?
Phoenicians.
High Voltage 75 said the Buffy movie was fun, Brett. It had Pee Wee Herman as a vampire and Christy Swanson, and most openly based woman in Hollywood was Buffy.
I think I've heard that Christy Swanson is based, but I'm just really in love with the TV show, guys. You have to watch the TV show if you have not watched Buffy the Vampire Slayer yet. It is truly a feminist icon at a time when there were less feminist icons on television. And because it was done at a time when it wasn't so over the top, it's done more deftly and handled with more care. And the character just comes off infinitely better than it would ever come off if they tried to remake that show today. And I remember when they announced that they were going to race swap Buffy and make a new one, a bunch of the same people who would yell at you for complaining about race swaps of characters were suddenly not happy when they were going to race swap Buffy.
Why don't we get to have like ditzy female characters?
Can't do that anymore. They have to be strong,
Like, they'll
independent
never make
women.
an I Love Lucy again.
Nope.
Like a ditzy but charming and genuinely clever, humorous woman who gets herself into insane situations and then her husband comes home and saves the day sometimes.
That should be you.
Yeah, you could do that.
Oh,
You
I
can
don't
fake
think
it.
I'm not an actress.
You can
of
make it
any
happen.
kind.
I'll
Be
tell
the
you.
change.
I'll tell you what. Like I said, I'm watching this show CB Strike, and this lead actress in the show, it's so great. She starts out as like, she gets hired as like basically a secretary to work for this private investigator, and she's warm, she's inviting, she's kind, but she's also really, really intelligent. But it never overshadows the intelligence of the main character because the focus, at least in the early seasons, I'm on series 1 and 2 right now. He is still very clearly the main character, but this actor and this actress have such unbelievable chemistry together that you want to see them together in every scene, but they push them apart in a lot of ways. So like he's got to go out and investigate outside of the office, and she's doing a lot of her own work inside the office. But whenever they do interact, it's magic.
What is the show?
It's called CB Strike.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's based off the Robert Galbraith novels. I do recommend everyone watch it. Mighty Rack says Brett should rewatch Angel. I'm actually watching Angel for the first time. It's different. I don't know how, like, I'm not having the same, like, I can get through a season of Buffy very quickly. I'm having trouble getting through the Angel episodes. It's a little bit more formulaic because it's like Angel moves to California and becomes an investigator. And it's like, it just doesn't, like, I don't like the formula of it, given that Buffy doesn't have that same type of formulaic run to it. But I do love David Boreanaz as that character. But I would have liked if they had kept Cordelia on Buffy. But I do love that both Xander and Cordelia on each of those shows kind of go through like the best character arcs, meaning that Xander is like learns to be a hero despite the fact that he has no powers, and his bravery comes from the fact that he's not superpowered, meaning that Buffy is a hero, but it doesn't take a lot of bravery all the time when you're kind of indestructible and you can't really be hurt and you heal really quickly. Xander is a mere mortal and can be hurt anytime something bad happens, but he still runs headfirst into danger, even if he's kind of a goof. Cordelia comes from money, and her family loses all her money because her dad never paid her taxes, so he was a tax hero. That's good. And she kind of gets humbled, and you see a lot of it is her trying to maintain this like mean girl bravado that came from being a rich California girl that's been stripped of her as she tries to find her way in the world, despite the fact that she no longer has the shield of the money she once had. She's kind of ditzy in a way, but she's lovable. So they just don't make TV like they used to.
It sounds like they have really well developed. Is this from a comic book from before? It's from a book?
I don't know if it was based on a comic book. It's the Joss Whedon show from 1997.
It sounds like they have really well written characters.
Oh yeah. It's the best. It's the best work Joss Whedon ever did, in my opinion. And he even there was I watched this episode recently with characters called The Unspeakables, where basically there's no talking for 27 minutes in the show because the villains suck the voices out of the characters. So you get
that's cool.
Yeah.
They did one of the episodes of Mr. Robot without any lines.
That's good. See, I like it when they
did one with
themselves.
no cuts either.
Yeah.
One of the episodes with no cuts at all.
Likely there are cuts in there. They're just cleverly disguised.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Right.
Like anytime
But
a camera like hits a guy's shoulder and then suddenly it comes back and just pulls back from the shot and it's just another angle. It's because it's just used as a transition.
It looks like it was just based on the film, the 1992 film by Joss Whedon.
Yep, I love that show. So let's actually let's move on, and I just want to talk about the Katy Perry thing, real quick.
Okay.
That cool?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking. I thought Mary would have crazy opinions on this because it does feel like Hollywood. Thank you. Hollywood has a problem with motherhood. Would you agree? Clearly, they don't have a good idea of what motherhood should be if Ireland Baldwin is throwing strip club baby showers.
No,
right?
they don't.
They have a distorted idea of what motherhood is. But Katy Perry, as a host on American Idol, is accused of being a bully because basically she shamed a lady for having 3 kids by the age of 25.
Yeah, she acted very performatively shocked when she found this out. The contestant told them, and it's weird because Katy Perry has publicly moved away from LA, went to Kentucky, started her family, even voted for Rick Caruso.
Yeah,
And now, she's seen basically shaming this woman for not closing her legs.
Yeah.
Essentially, I don't know how this is any fundamentally different than slut shaming, but from a different perspective.
But it kind of speaks to Hollywood's obsession with putting your career first.
She said you've been on your back too much or something.
Yeah. Yep. Basically
And then when she seemed to have a bias against the girl from the start, even though she was talented, because it's not her dream to be a singer because she's had children.
And they shame
and the fact that she would assume that as well just because she's had children is crazy.
And they shame the idea of motherhood at an early age. I was reading some articles because they were talking about that clip of the girl who said she wants to have kids at 35. And it was with Fresh and Fit or something. And they're like, your eggs are pretty much done for by 35. And I was like, is that true? I didn't know the answer to that.
Well, if we're talking realistically, it's way harder.
It's way
to
harder.
Have kids
exactly.
At that age.
And they were there was all of these weird propaganda articles. They're the perfect age to have a kid is the age between the age of 31 and 35. And I'm like, but then there's plenty of stuff that say that's objectively not true.
I remember being in high school at a Catholic school with other Catholic girls, genuine believers who had all of the, same values And we started talking one day, and I was like, when do you guys think that you guys want to have kids in the future? And they all said they wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
They're like, that's unanimous. But they were all like, 35, I think. That should be about time. 30-something, 30, at least 30. And I'm like, are you serious?
It becomes a high-risk pregnancy.
And not only that, but, you know, assuming we all hold the same views about premarital sex, you're saying you want to be a virgin until you're 35?
They make movies about that, about guys. It's called The 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Like, that's terrifying. I mean, I think they were saying it because they don't understand, you know, how the real world works. And, like, they were very pretty and smart women who obviously would get snatched up. Yeah. And probably have been by now. But it's just like the naivete. It just like makes me feel bad for people.
Is that just because schools don't talk about it? Schools don't talk about it?
My school would have. I mean, I don't know what I guess it's just so pervasive, this idea that you need to wait until you're established and a careerist. Yeah. To like then freeze your eggs. I mean, that's literally what's required.
The dominating Hollywood narrative now is to put off anything family related. First of all, men hold you down anyways. Hollywood tells you that men hold women back from having their career as a mid-level executive or some type of lawyer. So the Hollywood tells you that you're held back. And now they're telling you that the best thing you can do is either wait to have kids until you're 35, which becomes high-risk pregnancy, or freeze your eggs and have in vitro, which are extremely costly and expensive.
And I think they're immoral. But I mean, I saw this very sad video this morning of a woman who said she is divorced. She looked really young.
Oh, I saw that video.
Yeah. She's divorced, and she looked really young. I was shocked that she said she was 36. And she's like said, I've done the math. I don't have the time or the means to have children. And I wanted to, but it's not going to happen. Yeah. And she was like devastated by this. And I just think like these are the victims of, the girl boss mentality that is being promoted by people like Katy Perry. Yeah. People like Katy Perry, by the way, who have the means and the time, to do anything they want with their lifestyle.
So Katy used to demean that lifestyle, but now doesn't?
No, she still
does.
But
she's got a kid with Orlando Bloom?
She still does, even though she has moved away from the cities.
But they're do as I do. They're do as I say, not as I do.
Started her family. Yeah, exactly. And of course, with always the qualification that if they do start a family, it's not for everyone. Yeah. You don't have to feel like this is your...
They always feel like they have to preface their statement.
Like, you don't have to preface and qualify your life decisions, you know?
And that's what, if you watch any videos about people who have kids, they always, all the comments are like, look, I'm not saying that having kids is for everyone, but you don't have to say that.
I had kids. It's like, did anyone looking at you having kids think, oh, so you're saying I should?
No, we
no one, it's just people's internal shame monologue.
We had a comment the other day with somebody said it is objectively cruel to bring a child into this world because you bring them into a world of suffering and pain and you're not giving them the choice. And I just can't believe that level of black pill.
That's a suicidal mentality.
Yeah, it's not enough. It used to be that they had to have kids even in the times of slavery and war and really horror. You still had to have kids because otherwise there were no humans.
Yeah, who's going to fight in the wars anyway?
There's so many kids that we don't need to reproduce like we used to genetically to enhance the species. So there's this.
So that makes Hollywood in itself immoral by pushing these narratives on purpose. And this goes back decades and decades and decades. I was talking to someone recently about when girl boss music started becoming prevalent, and at the very least,
bad bitch o'clock.
At the very least, TLC talked about No Scrubs in 1997. So there's a really funny thing where they're talking about how they were broke at the time, and somebody's like, they're out here because their record label screwed them over. They're out here shaming me for carpooling with a friend, and they don't have any money either. But that's that narrative has put women on the defensive since at least the late 90s, if not earlier. And we wonder why birth rates are down, why divorce is up, and why we as a society can't figure out why men and women can't get along anymore and can't figure out where they fit in the world. And that's because Hollywood is pushing it.
You know, it started in at least the late 90s. It started earlier than that, honestly. But, you know, that's why I'm saying all the time, even though I didn't live through the 90s, that relative time of peace could only have existed for a decade or less.
Probably.
That's why it happened and, you know, fluttered away and it's gone forever.
I also
it's not
just
going to happen again.
I don't know if it's possible in the internet age because it required a certain amount of naivete about like what was going on in these industries, and there's just too much democratization of information. You can get your information from too many sources now that there will never be one solid prevailing narrative that guides the culture anymore.
When you say like an era of peace, you meant like militarily peace?
No.
I mean, I just mean culturally, there wasn't as much animosity between groups and
before the internet, people didn't know.
It
was like
it was like social.
It was like before
harmony.
They go, and everyone runs into the arena at the same moment. The 90s were like before they went go. Like the internet was when they went open all the gates, and everyone comes charging.
Like the Hunger Games.
Yeah. No, the example,
running to the cornucopia.
I have a funny example where I guess like there's a video of like a Mariah Carey concert from like 1995, and it's more diverse than any college brochure you've ever seen in your entire life.
Because she was so perfectly racially ambiguous.
She inspired people of all races, creeds, and there was men, women, like literally everyone was there, and it's the perfect microcosm of how Hollywood had achieved a certain amount of harmony helped create a certain amount of harmony within the culture. But I just think that now there's too many places to get information. There's too many ways in which victimhood has been monetized for people that will never achieve that again. I know that's kind of not a black pill thing.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a never thing. Yeah. What's happening though is like every culture on Earth is coming into conflict with every other culture.
And
you
just never were always communicating with every culture all the time.
It had never even it would be rare to have two different cultures. It would be rare to have three cultures interacting at once.
Yeah.
Ever, because there was no global forum. It didn't exist. You had telephone. That was the only way to like talk to someone far away.
Well, and also think about like how many times in the real world do you actually get into like a serious argument involving stuff like ideological beliefs and what you stand for as a person in the real world before the internet? That happened a couple of times in your life.
Really?
I maybe over dinner. You argue with people at dinner, and it's still easier to have
those. In college, I did that a ton. In high school, even.
Did what exactly? Argued with who?
I mean, just nerds who like to debate about everything. I thought that's what college was supposed to be about.
You go through a phase with it then, right? Like, but you're not doing it every day. Now you do it every day. Now every day is a battle about what you believe, and you have to argue with people that you disagree with. Society was never meant to function like that.
It never happened to me after 9 p.m. I mean, not really.
There you go.
Until at the internet. Now I'm on Twitter at 2 a.m. Yeah. Like, what?
It's like eating after 8. It's the intellectual version, you know? Like, it's not a healthy practice to argue gorging after 8.
Like I don't luckily for me, like I don't really come into contact with a lot of people who like want to argue with me about something because I'm not super politically vocal about stuff. But people send me messages about like this, you said this was stupid, and I'm like, okay, well, thank you for your feedback. Like, I clearly disagree, but that's fine.
We had a tight group of friends in high school that there were like 10 of us that we would argue about politics, but it was all of it was coming from this insulated Caucasian. Like Cuyahoga Falls, they called it Caucasian Falls. It was like 98% white people. It was this insulated thing where like none of us really knew what communism was. None of us really knew, you know, and we were like, we can all come together. Like no one had any idea that it had been tried before by the Bolsheviks. Like, so we were all, it was definitely, even though we felt diverse, we were all like from the same environment. Nobody had Chinese heritage. No one had, you know, African roots, any of that.
Yeah.
So that was the internet that brought that stuff into my life. I mean, theater school was a little bit more diverse. There was a lot of gay culture in theater school, but it was still as diverse as like Northeast Ohio could be.
Yeah,
it was the internet.
For the area, yeah.
Internet's
theater nerds.
So wild.
We love theater nerds. All right,
let's go to Super Chats.
We got some Super Chats there.
I Am What I Am said, about to start back work as a chief maritime engineer. Last time I'll be able to watch live for months.
No!
Love y'all, Crisis Crew. Stay saucy.
No,
Nice.
thank you for the
We
big super,
will.
thank you for the big super chat.
Thank
and
you so much.
and hopefully you can at least listen. Look, I've been putting up the audio versions of the show now, so if you can't watch, the audio version of the podcast should be going up like within the hour after we're done. So yes, at the very least, take a listen if you can. We appreciate it.
Potatoes for Seamus sent us an ice cream cone. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Seamus.
Regatan said, Ian, try Monster Train, an innovative STS alternative.
Oh, I have Monster Train. It was pretty good. It gets a little repetitive. There's not a lot of dynamic potential relative to Slay the Spire.
Steve Ryman said, want to have fun in the barcode store? Take a pen and draw a line through any barcode or QR code. Use that trick on the local clerk with attitude.
Have you ever seen that the comedian who goes, you know what else isn't stealing? Putting a bike lock on someone else's bike. He's like, it's insane. Bike locks are even legal. Do you understand the power you wield with your imagination and a bike lock? You can walk by a Baskin Robbins and just be like, you're closed.
It's true. It's true. But, you know, people generally have goodwill.
But just think about like there are awful people in the world who would do this. Like, it's one thing to steal your bike. It's another thing to just be like, your bike is not going anywhere.
You could just, you know, handcuff yourself to the Twitter headquarters.
There you go.
Disco Jensen said, Vanguard pulled out of ESG. It's pretty big and a sign that things can change for meritocracy.
Like, have we just like has like the financial sector just mastered like funny money bookkeeping so well now that we literally are in the post-profit era forever?
Well, the story with Vanguard is that they pulled out because it wasn't profitable. ESG, they were like, this is not the future of finance. We have to go back to investing in what makes money, not what is society thinks is important.
Mm-hmm. It's sad that I have
trillion too. It's a lot of money.
It's sad that I have to look for Vanguard for common sense about anything. Like, I'm not really a huge fan of having to be like, oh, I love it when the capitalists act like capitalists. Like, they should all act like capitalists, but I don't need just Vanguard to do that. I need all the other companies to understand that meritocracy is important as well.
Zach Oliver said, the society that separates its scholars from its warriors will have its thinking done by cowards and its fighting done by fools.
Yep.
I like that quote.
Convincing Reality said, odd how male strippers is empowering to women, drag strippers are empowering to queer people, while female strippers are objectified by the male gaze.
That's actually a really interesting way to frame it. I'll put it all next to each other. That's true.
All forms of stripping are degrading to all parties involved. Mark Reyes said, a lot of cameras track you and can see what you pick up or put back.
I'm telling you, that's good.
Depends if anyone's watching them.
I would like to go into one of those stores at some point. Like, to
Are
one
there
of
any nearby?
I don't think there's any out here.
Okay.
They're probably only in major metropolitan areas.
Yeah.
There's probably one in DC.
Called Amazon
But those are like the
Go.
worst places to put them because they're the most likely to get looted.
Wait, what is it called?
Amazon Go.
Amazon Go. Okay.
And they
There's
also have
one in
Amazon
DC.
Fresh. They're doing it with groceries.
Produce.
Oh.
Jeff Bezos is just going to just own everything at some point.
But if you do Amazon Fresh and it's the same way, there's no way you can like weigh a steak as bananas. So
now I'm hungry.
Wayward Soul said, Mrs. and I waited 36 and 40, both work from home to raise our child at home during formative years. Young parents have 9 to 5s and have to use daycare. No way.
Yep.
Dude,
They don't all have to have 9 to 5s and use daycare. I know young parents.
I just looked up. I'm sorry to interrupt. What was it?
Go ahead.
Amazon Go stores. They just closed 8 of them. They just closed a store in Seattle, New York, and San Francisco.
They're not doing that.
Amazon to close 8 Amazon Go stores. I bet they're losing so much money. People are just stealing, robbing the places.
Rounding
blind.
error for.
I wonder.
Rounding error for Amazon. Like at one point, I like accidentally hit a button on a thing that said my package didn't arrive, and they just refunded it, even though it like ended up showing up.
Hey, don't give anyone an idea.
They sell other people's stuff and just take a cut.
Yeah.
That's the whole process.
Yeah.
I mean, they sell their own stuff too, but
Some
it's not.
bookstore. Gordon Shumway said, we will soon see the problems of shrinking birth rates in the next 2 decades. Watch Peter Zian's lectures. Ian, you have mentioned this before.
Zihan, yeah, I like that guy a lot. Zihan, I'm not sure how he
know.
pronounces it, but he's a really, really smart guy.
And that runs counter to a lot of the prevailing narrative that we're in an overpopulation and that we need climate change.
No, only the white
policy.
populations are overpopulated. Hero Return of the Humans said, hey, guys, just launched this new full-length animated series trying to create some new counterculture. Could you plug Hero Return of the Humans for us, please, and thanks. Cheers.
Well, yes.
Yeah.
Go watch.
Go check that out. I haven't seen it.
Go check it out. Awesome. All right. Ian, my friend, thank you so much for coming
thanks,
today.
Brett.
On a Wednesday.
On a mid-afternoon on a Wednesday. What's up?
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, tonight, actually, I'm going to be taking the evening off, but you can find me at iancrossland.net. Follow me at Ian Crossland anywhere on the internet. And Monday through Friday, usually I like to take about a day off a week if possible. Timcast IRL, that's youtube.com/TimcastIRL, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check it out. Follow me anywhere else, man.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Mary, where can they find you?
You can find pictures of me on Instagram at Mary Archived, and you can also send me hate on Twitter. That is also Mary Archived.
What was it? It was send me hate on Twitter and validation on Instagram.
Yeah, validation on Instagram.
It was like, it almost sounded like you were like, you can find pictures of me on OnlyFans. Like
Never OnlyFans.
What the?
Never OnlyFans.
Instagram.
All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Before we go, could you hit the like button? Could you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Check back our old videos. Watch some of the clips if you can, the shorts, all that stuff. So hit the like button, or I'm sorry, hit the notification bell. I always forget to say the notification bell. So that way you get notified anytime I release a new video or live stream. If you want to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at Brett Dasovic. I'm on on this show, we do so much critiquing and we have to talk about so much negative stuff all the time. My Twitter, I try to make it as positive as possible. So I'm talking about like shows that I like, things that I'm enjoying. I can get snarky about things once in a while, but I do want to talk about stuff that I actually enjoy. So follow me there if you would. For this show, we are here Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. If you'd like to listen to this show, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. And then social media, Twitter at @popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. We will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then, guys.
Bye.
Bye.